Let's bow our heads and place ourselves in the presence of the Lord. Dear Lord, we stand before you in humble prayer before we start this program. We realize that without your blessings, we would not be able to succeed with the plans we have for this activity. Bestow your grace and divine wisdom to all of us present here, so we could cooperate and enjoy camaraderie and love for the greater glory of your name. Bless also those we have left behind our homes. May you grant them peace and happiness as they go about their activities. Bless people around the globe that they may enjoy peace and the goodness of your love. We ask all these through your mighty name. Amen.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Brian Chintamani. I'm the head of Department Agriculture Science at Leg 1 Secondary. I'm basically doing a short video here to tell you about the positive changes in the education sector so far. Firstly, the reduction in periods for everyone. I'm thankful for having 16 periods as an HOD, and out of the 25, I'm able to supervise and monitor my teachers more. The CPC teachers from 32, they're having 18 to help them with their CPC classes. AMs, SAMs, all have a reduction from 32 to 25 or 24 periods. And each school, depending on its grade, are supposed to have additional staff. For example, in grade C, my school, we supposed to have 3 SMs or 4 and a DHM. If that is materialized, then it will reduce the workload of the 1SM that we have and the HM that we have. So those are positive changes so far, which is implemented in a circular, and it's about time to getting the persons them the resources or the resource personnel at the schools. The records, which the CEO, I think, eliminated the general scheme, he eliminated index cards, and they are working on national schemes. And so far a list of subjects is out which they have national schemes for. I am quite disappointed in a way that agriculture science was not mentioned there, because that is my area of expertise. But I know for sure in the future there will be a national common scheme for agriculture science. I think it depending on the updated syllabus. Lesson plans. I used to plan daily lesson plans. Now I'm planning weekly lesson plans with more than one objectives for every time I go to the class. There's a reduction in lesson plans for primary and nursery as well too, so it's not a burden for them to plan every day. So lesson plans, you and I know as teachers, lesson plans has always been a burden for us, but now we have in weekly lesson plans, right? And that is benefiting me personally tremendously. I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful for the reduction of records in terms of schemes, index cards. I hope that in the future there will be more redundant records being eliminated from the system. I'm thankful for the reduction in periods. The second thing I wanted to touch on is the cash grant. Our school received cash grant and it benefited parents, teachers and students tremendously, because parents don't really have the burden now of purchasing, let's give an example of stationery, purchasing ink and paper. We have that now, and like how we are having pre-CXC in this term, usually before the cash grant, parents used to offset the cost of the printing of papers. Now we have enough ink and paper and to print the pre-CXC exam, so parents will not have to feel the burden of that. And then we still have to receive cash grant for this term, so we plan ahead for the future and we utilize it. I hope that all schools can utilize their cash grant to the benefit of the parents and the students, especially ease the burden of our parents and students. So the introduction of the reduction of periods, reduction of records, more staffing, and a termly cash grant has been very beneficial for us. I don't know how you are seeing it, but it's very beneficial. I'm not stressed anymore on the workload or records, you understand? And when you go at PTA meetings and you're hearing that the school is going to offset the cost of paper and ink, parents would breathe a sigh of relief to know that they don't have to pay. And that is because of the intervention of the Ministry of Education, and our CEO has been working tremendously to eliminate certain redundant things in the education sector. And I'm sure in the future we'll have more rapid changes which would benefit all of us. So continue the hard work, Ministry of Education, CEO and others. Continue hard work, and let's hope that in the future bring about more positive changes in the education sector. Thank you very much.
Colleagues in education, parents, learners all. I am Marina Govaya, head teacher of Gandhi Memorial Nursery located on Enmore on the east coast of Demerara, region number 4. First and foremost, I will not be endorsing and participating in the strike action, which is called by the Guyana Teachers Union with effect from the 5th of February 2024. Reason being, I am responsible for the holistic development and molding the minds of our future generation of tomorrow. Recently, the government of Guyana, through the Ministry of Education, has delivered numerous promises. One, increase in salaries and other increments, allowances to teachers, duty-free concessions, which are just a few, and also not forgetting the cash grant for parents. These are all done in order to better the lives of parents, our learners in our care, and the educators of this land. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Miss Leah Hernandez of the Yarra Cabot Primary School, and I recently celebrated 1 year of being an educator. I believe that molding the minds of our future generation is a very big deal, and we must pour our resources in order to make this future a bright one. School's cash grants bring us one step closer to making this a reality. As a teacher in training, financing resources out of pocket to make my classroom child-friendly can become a bit of a strain, but with the recent implementation of the school's cash grant, this worry is completely eliminated. My class and I have benefited in a number of ways. We now have complete access to our own office supplies and field supplies, such as our math and science kits, which cater to the needs of my diverse learners, and also our physical education tools and every other need, which makes my classroom an environment where learning is fun, innovative, and knowledge-rich.
So after a very bad experience with a media house. I had said that I wasn't going to do an interview without my people being present to record everything because the cutting and pasting was dishonest a few years ago. So can I commit from who would I get the whole thing from?
I can share it with
Good.
I can share it.
All right.
Okay, Minister, thank you for accommodating us. The GTU has indicated in recent days that they're going to strike, encouraging teachers to strike from Monday, saying that talks broke down between government and the union. What's the ministry's position with regards to that and the issue of conciliation and now arbitration, which they have put on the table?
Yeah, you know, the whole thing is really unfortunate. The Guyana Teachers Union is a union, and I hold the view that unions are noble, honorable organizations doing work for people who cannot represent themselves. And anyone who tries to exploit that nobleness and decency for narrow political gain is really an enemy of any union. Any union, not only the teachers' union. And I think that's what's happening here. I have seen the call, and I have seen the advice by the Ministry of Labor, who is the expert on this, that any strike would be illegal because there have the ingredients to meet conciliation and arbitration have not been met, and they have so advised the union. Outside of that, so we are going to be advising teachers that this is not a legal strike, and that they should be careful with how they heed advice from people who are going down the road of making the union into a political entity or carrying out the narrow political mandate of a person or political party. So I want to caution the union going down that road. This morning, in fact, they might still be meeting now. The union is meeting with the professionals in the ministry, as we have done. This is not a meeting we called when we saw this call for a strike. This is a meeting set 2 weeks ago. They're meeting to discuss things we have been discussing for the last year. The union's table of things they want, number 41. We have done more than they asked for in 24 of those 41. More than they've ever gotten. And I don't consider that a win for the union. I consider that a win for our teachers. Our teachers are precious to us. Our teachers are the backbone of this country. And I hate to see them be used in this way to fulfill the narrow political ambition of a person and then to fulfill the mandate of a political party who is opposing the government at this point. I think if you look at what teachers, everybody has a right, perhaps even a duty for themselves and families to call for better salaries. But salaries are not the only way we can improve the lot of a particular working section. Teachers, for the first time, will not be going into their pockets to buy chalk and cardboard and other things for their classroom. We're giving each child, each teacher, $4,000 per child, per term, to cater for. So if a teacher has 30 children in our classroom, that's $120,000 that she'll have for 3 months that will buy her chalk and so on, that we know doesn't come up to $120,000. That's money the teacher gets to keep in our pocket, because I know teachers were spending from their own pockets before. We are making sure promotions are done more frequently, which allows teachers personal growth as well as better salaries. We are making sure teachers have opportunities for training for their masters and PhDs and postgrad at no cost to themselves. We are making sure all our teachers can be trained so that their own value increases and retrained and improves. We are making sure teachers' children benefit from $4,000 to $5,000 per month, textbooks in the classroom, exercise books, labs that work, schools that are going to be refurbished and rehabilitated this year. So I don't think an objective examination of the issue will show that we have not been interested in teachers' welfare. We are not going to narrowly address salary and not look at the other conditions of teachers. In any event, teachers' salaries have raised from the time we have come into office in 2020 to now. As I said in the debate, I'd refer you to go back to that. In some cases, by $79,000 and $80,000. So, two things. I want to dispel the notion, and I think teachers across the country know that we're not working for them. I don't know if I may say this myself, where you had another minister that puts this kind of effort into making sure her teachers are comfortable and the children in the classroom and their parents are comfortable, and to dispel the notion that there's anything legal about what the union is calling here today. So the union is calling for a strike as they continue to meet with us and negotiate and deal with all the other things. I think this morning we were the professional arm of the ministry, that's the CEO, ACOs, and so on. We're talking about 2 deputies per school and an assistant teacher in classrooms that have a larger number of children. And those are things that will benefit all teachers. So as they sit down and talk with us about that, they're calling for a strike on Monday. I personally have seen teachers, even in the COVID period, come out secretly and teach their children, the grade 6 teachers. I don't see them striking. I don't see it. I don't see the CXC teachers striking. I don't see the teachers who pause here. That's what I'm asking teachers to do. Pause here and look at what we have done and whether there are real grounds for a strike here. I don't see teachers heeding this call, but we'll see.
Yep, I just wanted to know, even as you're dissuading teachers from this illegal action, as you say, do you have any plans at this moment to sort of curb any disruptions that might ensue next week?
Well, teachers manage classrooms, so we have to wait and see. But I can tell you this, that the country is as prepared as it has ever been for distance education, if that becomes necessary, and for the delivery of education across grades to students. That is not to say that I don't recognize the kind of disruption that would happen if there is a mass strike. So there's nothing here that would benefit anyone. And anyone who tries to go on strike, anybody like a union, without justification or without the kind of justification that they could possibly have, is someone who is not a friend to the children of this country.
Thank you,
Right?
Minister.
All right.
Pleasant good night to those who are locked in on the wrap here tonight. I want to say a special thank you for being here as we go into some discussions. And I must apologize for the lengthy videos, but I think it was necessary to keep you updated and necessary to keep you in the loop because there's a lot going on as it relates to the education sector right now in Guyana. And when I said a lot going on, I mean on both sides, the negative and the positive. On the positive side, in my view, personally, I believe that the government is doing everything within its reach through the Ministry of Education to ensure that our future generation, which is our children, benefits to the fullest academically. So, a pleasant good night once more to Shakiri, Lexi, and to all those who are tuning in. I would ask you to share the live as you join in with me, and we can go into some discussions here tonight. Now, as we are seeing in the air, and a few nights ago, I did a live on this, and I explained it to the public what was going on. There was a hint. They were giving the people. There's a hint. There were hints that they were giving to to us as parents, and it's very. I don't want to use the wrong word, but it was very dishonest. To see that people, teachers who are there and they are collecting their salaries without any problem on a monthly basis, were trying to use, in some schools, were trying to use this kind of thing that they call, I really got to be careful of what I'm saying here because I don't want people to get me wrong. But the choice of words, I got to be very careful. But however, for the past weeks, there was this thing going around that fleas, the schools are being infested by fleas. And the thing that bothers me is that this thing was on a widespread because there were several schools in Linden which was noted to have infested by fleas. You had New Silver City Secondary School, that is across on the Wisma Shore. That's where my son goes. And then you had the Wootukade Primary School. Um, that's not too far from where I'm living here, and that's a far distance away, you know. And then you had, I think it was the Wisberg, um, I think it was the Wisberg Secondary. It's a secondary school also. And when you check the geographics of where, um, you know, they identified and they were saying the schools are being infested by fleas. It kind of bothers me because I know fleas are more so in sandy areas, and then more so fleas don't appear just like that, right? So there's a lot of questions there were to ask. And the thing of it is that these teachers, in these schools that highlighted that there were fleas, when your children come home and you ask them about it, they don't know what's going on. I asked my daughter, I said, baby, you see any flea or anything? She said, no. She said, Daddy, all I know is that the teacher come and the teacher tell we that we have to go. We have to go home. Let us pick up our bags and go home. And my daughter know very well what is fleas. I can tell you that because we have dogs. We're in a sandy area, and sometimes we have the fleas in the yard. So she knows very well what is fleas. And so you try to put this together and understand. And then it was my wife who was apparently she was running through TikTok, and there was this one teacher who had a live on TikTok, and then she was talking about teachers going on strike. And she said that the teachers are not saying to the people that, but they're using this strategy, to the old time workers would call it a go slow, where they're going to work, they're going to schools, and they're not doing anything. And, they're just rock back there. Nothing is being done. But then they use this term as if to say it was fleas that are infesting these schools, so the children has to go home. But we expect this was coming. We got the hint, and I personally did my own background check, my own investigations, and there was nothing of such. I'm still waiting to see a child or children, or as much one of the teacher to show me some form of evidence that there were fleas in the school. Show me some photographs. Show me something. Show me a video. We live in a technology world, and I know you must have some form of evidence to show that. Right? So, we parents are smart enough as well, and we know that this was coming. We know this was coming. And my point is, and my issue is, for a matter of fact, I'm trying to figure out what is the cause and what is the purpose of this strike. If it's an increase in salary, I can say to you that, if the teachers are saying that they're looking for an increase in salary, while the budget is in process as well. And then we know what happened comparing from 2018 to 2024, there has been a drastic increase in salaries for teachers. So if they're saying that they're talking about increase of salary, then I would personally say, look, I know some person might be upset, and I don't want to trigger this thing more because it's out there. We have to, reason about it. That's the thing about it. We have to find ways and solutions how we can rectify this. Teachers and generally people have to look more into the future, which they are responsible for help molding as the educators, they need to act more responsibly. And again, I don't want to generalize it, because I can assure you there are many teachers out there who are not in support of this. And like the minister rightly said, the Minister of Education, the Honorable Priya Manichan, would have rightly said, is that teachers has to be very mindful, very careful of the actual plan behind this, because they are now being used as political tools. You understand? They are being used as political tools to distract the actual development in this country. It is a political strategy. And if any right-thinking teacher will sit down and assess the variation of salaries from 2018 to 2024, then any fair thinking teacher would say, you know what? I believe that the government is doing its best. I believe that the government is not trying, but the government is doing its best. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this chart on the screen, and I'm going to go through it detailed so you guys can look along. You can go along with me, and you can see the variation from 2018 to 2024, right? So let me go through this with you. So we looking, no, for a matter of fact, let me correct that. You're looking at 2019, the status here, you're looking at 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024 we are at here. Right? So let us look at this. We're looking at first teacher trainee. That's the first salary seen up here. In 2019, the teacher trainee received a salary of $12,466, right? Is that correct? And then you see in 2020, there were no increase. It was the same $12,466. In 2021, right, a year, and not even a proper year, not even a full year after the PPP or this new administration were in office, you had an increase from $12,466 to $90,421, right? That's the very first year, and less than a year in government. This government would have increased from $12,466 to $90,412. And then in 2022, right, that's a year after, you had $97,655. In 2023, that was last year, you have $104,003. You understand? And that's where we are up to now. And I know the government is putting systems in place for an increase as well, right? So you have a difference between 2019 to 2024 for a teacher trainee is you had an increase of $91,537, right? Now looking at the second one, we have the lecturer one at the Technical Institute. In 2019, they received a salary of $153,886, right? That is 2019, right? And in 2020, it was the same. There were no increase, right? When this administration took over in 2021, right, the lecturer one received $164,658. In 2022, $177,831. And in 2023, to date, they're now having $189,000, right? And in 2024, they're receiving $204,968, an increase from 2019 to 2024 of $51,082. You have untrained graduate teachers. In 2019, they were receiving a salary of $157,443. In 2020, that did not change. It was the same thing. In 2021, less than a year after the government has been in place, $168,464, right? You have in 2022, right? You have $181,941. In 2023, you have $193,767, and in 2024, $214,908, right? So the difference from 2019 to date, an increase of $57,465. So guys, I really would like to go through all of this, right? But I know persons are looking at the screen and you can see this. I don't, it will be timely for me, right, to go through this, right? But you have three, let me go through some of the critical, I mean, all is critical and all is important to discuss. But let me go through a few of them. You have the trained graduate teachers. They received in 2019 $175,995. There was no increase. The same thing in 2020. When the government would have took over, they had an increase of 188,315. In 2022, $203,380. In 2023, $216,600, and in 2024, $237,736, an increase of $61,741. The difference, right? So I can go through all of this here, like I said, but I want persons to look at this, right? I want persons to look at this, and you can do your own assessment from 2019 to date. So now we having a battle with the opposition. We having a battle with people like Miss Coretta McDonald. The drone lady said that people are flying away in drone. We had Miss McDonald out there, and her level of thinking, we can see that publicly, the way she speaks and the way she reacts, and we can see that these people, I might be too harsh to say this, but the reality is these people are definitely incompetent in taking the country forward. And to have somebody like Coretta, right? To have somebody like Coretta leading in the education sector of our country, trust me, we will be sorry for our future generation, our children. Because remember, it's from the head go down. And if the head is not right, trust me, nothing else wouldn't be right. So, when you listen to her and the rhetoric that she spew in the public, sometimes I wanted to know if these persons actually think before they talk. Do they prepare their speeches? Do they prepare their information that they're going to put out there? And more so, do they look back at these lives, on these Facebook lives that they would put out there? They ever look back to these lives and listen to themselves? It sounds really out of place. It sounds very, arrogant of somebody who's supposed to be respected in authority. Because at the end of the day, you can consider even the opposition have some form of authority, yes, but come on, you, like my good friend Audrey Hercules say, Coretta McDonald is a sea urchin, brainless, right? And Miss Hercules, many persons here share your sentiment as well. I myself support what you say here, right? So it's a real sad situation that our teachers are being used. Our teachers are being used as political tools. What they need to do is sit down and assess certain things for yourself. Be an independent thinker, right? Do not let these politicians on the opposition side think for you, because like a few days, I saw Vice President would have made a speech, and I had that clip on Facebook, and he was comparing the National Assembly, the Parliament back in the early 90s. When he was minister in the Ministry of Finance, in the early 2000s, and he compared what the National Assembly and Parliament was, where, you had different concepts, you had different views, you had different ideas as opposition and government. But at the end of the day, the common goal of both sides was the people, was the country, putting the country forward. And we can disagree we can agree to disagree, but at the end of the day, the common goal is to making Guyana great, right? To making Guyana what it is today. So he was comparing, people like Desmond Knight and other parliamentarians and these former leaders back in the days, where you could have had a mutual conversation, you could have had a peaceful and meaningful and mature conversation. But think about today, the arrogance that is being spewed from the opposition side. And look, I'm not bashing anybody here. I'm being very straightforward. He mentioned one specifically, Sherrod Duncan, right? You think about, and Vice President said it, and I can say it as well, because I had many confrontation with Sherrod Duncan while he was placed there in the community policing organization as the coordinator for CPG Guyana, right? And that was just after the individual was fired from a news agency, right? The individual was fired from a news agency or a newspaper, right? For allegedly not accounting for over $5 million. You understand? And then he was placed in such to take control of an organization of integrity, the community policing, and he came into that organization with corruption as well. You understand? I can speak so much that I've experienced under the community policing organization with Sherrod Duncan as the coordinator for the CPG. There was so much corruption going on in there under his tenure, right? And Ramjatan put him there, right, to take control and act as though the CPG belongs to the AFC, right? So going back, don't let me stray away from that, but going back to dealing with somebody, personally, Sherrod is not no kind of, not, for matter of fact, Sherrod is no competition. He's not somebody that you could sit down and reason with. He's not within the category and the level of even a young parliamentarian and ministers of the present administration. You understand? The guy lies a lot, right? He tell a lot of untruth. He can't say lies in the parliament. Y'all learned something here tonight, right? In parliament, you can't use the word lies. You say untrue, right? And he said a lot of things that is not true. And the guy is corrupted, right? So I think about dealing with people like this in the National Assembly. Think about dealing with people like Coretta McDonald in the National Assembly, right? And I even see some educated ones in the National Assembly who act as though they have no sense, right? Who act as though they don't have no education, right? This is how I see it. So when the Vice President spoke about these people, and it's you debating a national budget with people who are still thinking on a community level, not even on a regional level. They cannot even manage on a regional level, much less to a national level, right? So it's like square pegs in round hole. You understand? It cannot work, right? So now going back to the teachers now, teachers has to be very careful of these people, these same set people who is behind this strike. They are just doing this for their own political gains, right? Their own political gains, they're doing this to benefit, to get scores. But at the end of the day, they don't care, right? If they had cared, why haven't they make it better for you, the teachers, while they were in office from 2015 to 2020? They did nothing but to empower themselves and enrich themselves by increasing salary immediately right up to 100%. You understand? They didn't think about you, right? They didn't think about the teachers or the public servants in general. They think about themselves. And then you had the former President Granger could have come out public and said, "Oh, we give them an increase in salaries so they would not thief." So apparently, Mr. Granger was well aware that he had a bunch of thieves around him. So that is why he do that. But it was like giving a dog egg to suck. You understand? Because when they get the massive increase, you understand the money for them, they decided they want more. You understand? So teachers, you have to be very careful of the people you are allowing to lead you or you are allowing to mislead you, for a matter of fact. You understand? So I'm pleading with the teachers here, right, to sit down, think for yourselves, be independent thinkers. You have to find ways and means to sit down and sort out these things for yourself. Don't let people push you to that limit, and then in the end you end up losing. Look, take for example, can you recall when the nurses strike at the Mackenzie Hospital? There were some people out there, even Sherrod Duncan and all of them, and you had Carol Crazyhead. And let me be very careful with saying it because you hear bashing women just now. But at the end of the day, she and all is an empty head. She have no sense. Chanel Smith Daniels, I call her name loudly. Let she go to the court. I'm prepared for her. You understand? All of them was out there. You had the regional chairman in Linden here. You understand? The White Elephant regional chairman who don't has a brain. He don't have a brain. You understand? He has to take political orders from Congress Place. No sense the guy don't have. You understand? He and Chanel and a whole set of them and Sherrod Duncan, and they come and they lead up the nurses and they got the people out in protests, an illegal protest, because the procedures wasn't followed. You understand? We're not saying that you're not entitled to protest. You can protest. It is legal for you to protest, but you have to follow protocols. There is a process and protocols in how you follow it. And they had the people out in the sun for days protesting and protesting. And what comes out in the end? Nothing, because they can't even represent themselves. And then also they have another dumb nut in Linda here that they call Nigel Landon. I don't know where he appeared, where he resurrect from which old-time graveyard he resurrect from. And he all of a sudden is this high in authority and respected leader. You understand? So, these people are misleading you just like what they did with the nurses. And then they will leave you out in the sun, and then you have to deal with your issues yourself. So before you have to go back on your knees and beg anybody for your job, put into consideration. And what I'm saying, don't mislead me. I'm not saying that the government or Priya Manichan gonna knock y'all out because y'all strike. But once you've been found in an illegal protest, which you are not supposed to be a part of, when you're supposed to be in school, teaching our children, you out there in an illegal protest, and you get caught in that, and you are being dealt with accordingly, you can't say that the government or Priya victimize you. You understand? That is why I'm saying you have to be very careful. These people ain't got no time with you. None of them in the opposition got no time with you. All they want is scores, political scores, and that's why you have to be very careful. I believe, personally, I've seen a whole lot of changes. I've seen a whole lot of changes from 2020 to date under this administration through the Ministry of Education. Teachers, I can say, you were burdened with a lot of responsibility. And also us as parents are being burdened still. Every day they want you to print something. Every day is some fundraiser activity. Every day is some hot competition. And, we don't ever get an accountability of where these funds are going to. However, we suggest probably they want to buy things. But look, the government, through the Ministry of Education, and make it more easy for you, the teachers. Now, imagine you teachers will also be receiving school grants that will offset your expenses. You understand? They'll offset your expenses. You have in the hinterland areas, region 1, 7, 8, and 9 will be receiving $5,500 per child. You understand? 5,500 per child. Now you calculate that 5,500 per child. Let us say, for instance, you have 20 children in your class. I'm going to the minimum. You understand? And you have 5,500 per child. Right? Technically, you will be having $110,000 per term. Right? Am I correct? Y'all tell me, because I didn't want to get Nigel maths at all. Right? But this is what you will be having. And that is not on a yearly basis, per term. So you just imagine teachers are having $110,000 per term, every term. That's 3 times a year. You understand? So the 3 times a year, you will be collecting $330,000 to offset your expenses in school for chalks, stationaries in general, printing, and all these things. Right? Now, I would go to school. Let us say I would go to the school. I think I was at one of the school, my son's school, and the teachers were asking me if I can assist them in getting a printer, a heavy duty printer. But now look at this. Now you check it. A heavy duty printer that is needed at those schools is nothing less than, I don't think it's nothing over $500,000. Right? And let us say this is needed. And you have a school have basically, let us say, 30 teachers. I'm just saying, like with the big schools in Lynn, let's say 20 teachers. Right? And every teacher will receive nothing less than $100,000 per term. And I'm talking about the school cash grants. Right? Every teacher will receive nothing less than $100,000. And you have 20 teachers. That is $2 million. Right? That is $2 million you will be collecting in school grants for the term. $2 million. Now, these 20 teachers can come together. You understand? And put, even if it's a $30,000 a teacher, right? From those 20 teachers, they could afford to buy one of those big heavy-duty printer that will benefit the entire school. Y'all don't squeeze in for the money. Y'all got to spend the money, because remember, it's not your money. You understand? It comes for the children. And the ministry and the Minister of Education, through the government of Guyana, is finding ways and means. They're sitting and they're thinking, they're busting their brains, finding ways and means to how they can offset the burdens of you, the teachers, and also us, the parents. Right? But some of you operate as though this money is yours. Right? And I'm saying it blatantly. I don't care who is upset. I'm saying blatantly, right? I've seen that the Minister of Education is being accused to saying that the teacher will pocket the money. I've never heard her say so, but I can say it as well. I would say it without any fear, because this is some of your intentions. And I guarantee when some of you receive these cash grants, you will still try to burden us, the parents. You understand? But what I'm saying, I've never heard the Minister of Education say that the teacher can pocket the money. Right? And then the other thing that I gathered out there was a problem of scrutiny. Because the minister said that, look, there will have to be accountability of these funds. Why, y'all don't like scrutiny? Y'all don't like accountability? Y'all remember Minister Edgell, then opposition, were suspended from Parliament because he asked for the budget to be scrutinized. It was a debate. So what, y'all don't like scrutiny? You understand? You have to be scrutinized and you have to give accountability, because if the government or if Priya's ministry cannot answer to these funds that is being given to you, and then that will come up in another discussion that the ministry is thieving out the government money or taxpayers' money. Come on. We have to try to sit down and rationalize these things. We have to try to sit down and assess these things. Right? So nobody is saying that you haven't thieved the money. All the ministry or the minister is probably asking, I didn't hear her again, but this is what I gathered through the grapevine. It's for accountability. And there is no problem in accountability. If you buy a pen, you collect a receipt and bring it back. If you buy $20,000 in printing sheet, you collect $20,000 in printing sheet. You collect a receipt and you give it back. You understand? A legitimate receipt. Y'all don't sit down and write them receipt and make them receipt in schools. I know enough y'all don't like this kind of reason, but it is facts. It is facts. Now look at this. What more? I'm thinking about what more can we ask for? You understand? What more the teachers, us the parents, what more can we ask for from this government? And we still have over, I think it's over $500 billion in education. I think it's something like that. I'm not right, but I will recheck that and have that corrected for you. In education yet to be spent in 2024. Now you have us, the parents. We're receiving now $45,000 cash grants. We collecting that cash grant, the school cash grant, for our children, for the matter of fact, let me correct that. Their children are benefit this on a yearly basis, but you are receiving nothing less than $100,000 per term. You understand? Now, we having $45,000 cash grant, that increased, $45,000 cash grant. You having over $300,000, nothing less than $300,000 per year. Also, a massive increase in salary. So what is the problem? My question here, what is the problem? What is the purpose of the strike? This is what I'm trying to get corrected, but I can't get an answer. And then you are now trying to use all these little things, issues in schools and fleas and bats and rats and cats and all these things. So our children cannot go to school and not know y'all planning a strike. Teachers, I'm pleading with y'all. And I'm not pleading with y'all on the government behalf. I'm pleading with y'all on behalf of us, the parents, to think more positively, to think more constructively, and make a wise decision. Going out to strike is not the solution. Reasoning is the solution. The GTU, tell me the honest truth. What have the GTU has done for teachers for the past, let us say, for the past 7 years? Prove to me something good. Why wasn't the Guyana Teachers Union in 2015 to 2020 make no form of representation for you guys? Think about it. What kind of representation they would have made for you? None. None. So you guys really need to put into consideration the benefits that you have in now comparing prior to 2020. So, this whole strike thing, it's not good for our country at all. It's not good for our people. It's not good for our children. You guys need to be more constructive thinkers as well in whatever you do and the decision you're making moving forward. I want to take this opportunity to have the lines open. I know now it's late, but it's a reasoning time. It's hours for us to reason. And if anybody, if you need to call in, share your views and opinion, any questions you want to ask, you can call in 611-0200. 6110200 to share your views and opinion. If you have any questions or anything you want to share, you can call in now. I will have the line open. And I want to say a present good night again to Krista Kurbasad, Shakiri Lexi, Audrey Hercules, Jules Evans, and Anhil. Good night to you guys. Thank you for being a part of this discussion of this program tonight. So, guys, I don't want to delay. I know it's getting late. I know some of you are preparing for work tomorrow, and you know, I want to wish you good luck in the new week. Have a safe week. My program is here. It's just that I was in and out of the area. I know some persons. We have people like Sally Jones and the others. They're saying they're not seeing the lives yet because I was out of the district. But however, I'm back again, so we can, we can discuss. I will be here time and time, right, to do what I do best. That is what I like. Good night to you, Rudolph Khan. Rudolph Khan, yours, that's a whole story, right? Coretta wants everybody flying the drone. Yeah, just imagine. This woman wants to be a minister of education and talking about people flying in drones, right? What Coretta need to do is get some drones with she and the entire opposition bench, and they can fly away from Guyana because they're just taking up seats in parliament, and um, they're just collecting money out under false pretense, in my view, collecting our taxpayers' hard earnings under false pretense. Right? Let me see somebody sing here. So, from what you're saying, it is known that some of these teachers will convert the money for their own personal use. The question is why the ministry come up with such ideas to give the teachers so much money. Why can't they get an estimate of expense for each school for every month and give it to someone in the form of the contract at every region to distribute to the school? Um, and that question, that is from Andy Lalchan. Andy, good night to you, my brother, and thank you for tuning in. And I can say to you, that's a very good idea. That's a very good idea. And I support this as well. I support it as well. But here what's the problem? Here what's the problem with this here now. There is nothing we can do. You understand? To satisfy the people. Imagine Jesus came here and could not have satisfied the people. You know, people are giving us colors and we're not happy with that. We want to change it. Good night to you from New York, right? But that's a good idea. But let us say the government had put a system like that in place. What do you think would happen? And I'm telling you, based on my experience on the ground, what you think will happen there? You're going to have an issue. The first thing you're going to hear again, oh, the government don't trust we. The government, that's why they're going to buy the thing. And then you hear, oh, the government buying Chinese thing is that proper thing. And then you hear, oh, the government taking the money, spending by their own PPP, people shop. And all these things they're going to come up with, all these frivolous things, right? Because that's how they think. You understand? Right? And Shakir is saying the government should supply all schools with everything instead of the cash. These are good ideas, good suggestions. But then again, I think what the government is doing through the Ministry of Education is giving person the opportunity to explore themselves, to understand themselves, to see if they are honest to themselves and to our children. They're giving them the cash money. You understand? So they can go out there and support who they want, buy from who they want. You understand? I'm telling you, if the government would have done this, you would hear how the government taking the money to go and spend by their own PPP people. And this is how they think. I'm telling you, this is what we experience on the ground. You understand? This is what we experience on the ground. So I personally, this is just my opinion. That's just my view. I support the government, give them the cash. But all they're asking is to have some form of justification and accountability for these funds so that the government themselves can be questioned in any time and they can submit to prove that these funds were distributed equally in every area of the education sector. Any other question? If somebody needs to call in, you can call in on WhatsApp 611-0200 or 624-5454. You can call in to share your views and opinion. All right? And thank you, Andy Lalchan, for tuning in. Andy, my show normally starts from 7 to 8 every night, Monday to Friday. So I would appreciate it once you have the time, sir, you can tune in with me as well. And I will ask you guys to share this live with me, right? Share this live for me, for a matter of fact, and so people can have a review of it. Right? Rudolph Khan saying nothing the government do will fully satisfy the PNC supporter, and that's it. Rudolph, I support you 100%. You said nothing the government will do to fully satisfy the PNC supporters, and that's so true. That's so true, right? It's like, for instance, if you don't like somebody, your spirit does not take somebody. Don't matter what they say or do, right? Or don't matter. Yeah, I'm saying it correct. Don't matter what they say or do, good, it would not have no positive effect on you. And that's what we're dealing with today. We have people who are dealing with personalities and not issues, especially the opposition side. They just don't like the PPP. They don't like Bar Jagdeo. They don't like Irfan Ali. They don't like Prem Manichan. They don't like nobody. So even if these people are doing good, like you said, Rudolph, nothing will be satisfying to them. Right? Nothing will be satisfying to them. And we have to realize we are big people. We are aspiring leaders. We are leaders. And we have to know to separate our professional life from our political life, especially when our common goal should be for the best interests of all Guyanese. And I say all Guyanese, despite your race, religion, political affiliation. You understand? Whatever is your belief, let us work for the common interests, which is betterment for Guyana and its people. And then let us deal with their personalities in person. So if I don't like Audrey Hercules, and me and Audrey Hercules are minister and parliamentarians, let us work together for the people. But when we done in parliament and me and Audrey catch up after parliament outside, I can tell Audrey, I don't like you, mustn't have nothing to tell me. This is how we should be, We ain't even supposed to not like nobody because we're Guyanese. So that's the kind of people we have to deal with in this country. So guys, again, I think I may have to take my leave, and it was a pleasure having you here with me tonight. After a while, I was off, and that's because of my responsibilities. I have to be in and out of the district, and so I'm back now. And you will see me more and more frequently. But remember, my time is from 7 to 8 from Monday to Friday. And on Sunday, I have the Sunday afternoon gaff. So you can tune in Sunday like today as well. But I didn't have the gaff this afternoon because I had, some other engagements as well. So with this being said, I want to say a special thank you once more to those who would have taken the time off to be here, to tune in on my live. It's a pleasure being here and spending time with you as well. So with this being said, I want to say thank you. Do have a blessed night, and I wish you all the best in the new week to come. Tomorrow videos must be taken of the teachers on the picket line. Tomorrow videos must be taken. Yes, Rudolph, I agree. I will be out there as well. I will be live out there as well. So you guys will have the opportunity to see it. So good night, goodbye. Wish you all the best in the new week to come.
If I think about the ways you make me smile, I'd be sitting here and smiling for a while. Although I know I make you cry sometimes, your happiness is ever on my mind. I cannot repay for everything you've done, but my love for you burns brighter than the sun. No matter where my feet and mind may go, my heart will lead to you and you alone. Guyana, Guyana, I'll be holding on to you forevermore. Guyana, Guyana, may the blessings of God never leave your shore. A paradise so wondrous to behold, a work of art, your heart is gleaming gold. They sail the waters, soar above the trees, to find the gem between the mountains and seas. Your children all, we try though we may fall. We stand united now to heed your call. Our fathers fought the fights for liberty.